So, as I mentioned in my email to you, Benjamin, we've obviously got the SL28 variety from Evin, and we've just started selling it actually, and it's going down incredibly well. So this conversation is really about obviously your farming and your production in Honduras in general, but also SL28 and how it's sort of come to you and what you see it do at sort of farm level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Brilliant. But I think it would be really helpful if we can maybe start with just a quick introduction from both of you so that for those of our customers who might not know who you are.
Yeah, perfect. So let's start with Evin.
Bueno, pues a mí me
So
da
he's
gusto conocerlos, ¿verdad?
Evin Moreno. He is a producer from the municipality of Las Vegas,
Pues somos de
Santa
aquí, Las
Barbara.
Vegas, Santa Bárbara.
Santa Barbara is the department. He's
Yo he
from the
venido
community of El
trabajando pues con
Cedral.
café
He's been producing
hace unos
coffee for
13,
13, 14
14
years
años y
with the
gracias a
vision,
Dios
like
pues
of succeeding.
por parte de la bodega San
And
Vicente de Aguililla
he's
pues nos
thanking
han abierto
God
las
and
puertas
thanking
de poder
life for this
vender nuestros
opportunity to
cafés
meet you and meet
diferenciados. Entonces, esa es nuestra cadena,
one of
vivimos
the
del
companies that
café
buys his coffee.
y gracias a Dios pues
He
cada año
says that he
pues
has a lot of
se
gratitude
nos
for
van
these
abriendo más
opportunities and these
puertas y
windows and doors that are
porque
opening
le doy gracias a
for
Dios
him
porque
and
yo los
his coffee.
conozco hasta hoy a ustedes
Thanks to
que
you
compran nuestros cafés.
and
Entonces,
partners like Landon that
los
they
otros
visited
muchachos
last year. And
que vinieron el año
yeah, he's
pasado,
very
pues
grateful
también
for
es la
the
primera vez que los
for the
conocí.
opportunity and also
Entonces, y así
really
hemos ido
interested
conociendo
in
a
continuing
varios compradores
working
y
in the
entonces
coffee. That's
eso nos motiva a
basically the
nosotros
goal
mucho a
to
trabajar con el café y
achieve this
tratar
type
de
of
hacer bien las
opportunities
cosas.
through the work that's done with the
Quizás
coffee.
métodos
So he's
nuevos,
saying
¿verdad?
that
Como el
his
café,
goals for
ir
now are to
aprendiendo cada vez
continue
más,
diversifying, to continue improving
ir
processing,
mejorando en
quality,
beneficiados,
milling and everything in order
tratar de
to continue
trabajar mejor los
producing
cafés,
better coffee. Those are
hacer lo mejor que
the
podemos.
short term goals as a producer. And on my behalf, I'm Benjamin Paz. I'm a producer from Santa Barbara. I'm also an exporter. I work for San Vicente, which is a company that represents specialty coffee producers in the Santa Barbara region of Honduras. The company was started by my grandfather in the 60s, and my dad continued the legacy working with coffee, and I'm now involved in the project, representing producers and trying to build relationships and add as much value as we can to this wonderful product.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Benjamin. If we can talk a little bit about coffee production in Honduras in general, obviously both at sort of bigger level. I suppose, Benjamin, you can maybe talk a little bit about that. And then Evin, on farm level, what are the challenges you're facing at the moment? What are the positives you're seeing? What does it look like?
Yeah, it's been really difficult in the last 5-6 years for Honduras. We were at some point one of the main and bigger producers of coffee in the world. And that has changed a lot due to all of the different problems that we have had to face. Since the pandemic, Honduras has gone through a very critical demographic and economic problem. We have had a lot of migration from people mostly working in agriculture to the United States to go and find opportunities over there. As many Hondurans have been successful there working and sending money back to the country. So it's been really appealing for people. So many of them have taken the decision. And so that has really affected the agriculture here. We have seen the volumes of the coffee go down and the production going down. As a consequence, also the cost of production has gone up. So we have seen, dramatic changes in the prices, also in the production of quality. So, as an example, Santa Barbara as a department is producing 50% less of what we were producing back in 2019. Really affected the economy, as coffee is a very important product for the country. And that's in one side. In the other side, we have seen the phenomenon of specialty coffee, which has grown a lot, and try to mark that difference between commercial grade coffee, right, and the volatility of the prices that commercial had. It's the specialty coffee is coming and changing the perspective, and trying to give not only a good premium to the producers, but also bring a lot of value to the work and the operation that is being done. So that has changed a lot. So you see now a lot more specialty coffee producers participating in programs, and you see interactions like this one where we have the opportunity as a producers to connect to the market. And that's really making a big difference and really creating the real sustainability of coffee, which is at the very end, like bringing profitability to the producers and giving them the opportunity to find a better way of living, a better way of improving the quality of the coffees, etc., and making this, a sustainable operation for them. So I would say, we have two scenarios: commercial stuff, which has been struggling, and the specialty, which has been really nice to get the support from a market that is really caring about the supply chain.
Mm. And this reduction in output of, you say, 50% reduction in production since the pandemic, is that purely because of people moving away from Honduras?
It's because of people moving away. Many of them going to the US, many others just abandoning coffee because it hasn't been profitable. Even if the market can be high, they don't feel the motivation, as they know that these high peaks in the market are normally for short term. It's something that might not stay for a long period of time. And coffee, when you plant a tree, it takes 3 days to produce. Everything can happen within those three years, right? So it's really challenging for producers to predict. And Honduras in general, we've been struggling with politics, with economics, and it hasn't been an easy country to live. But specialty coffee is changing the scenario, and it's giving hope, and it's giving opportunities to people. And this is thanks to the influence of the market that we have, that is trying to do what you're doing right now, like listening to us, trying to find out what to do and how to bring value to the supply chain, and build a solid structure to make the business part of this work.
Yeah, I think that brings me sort of really nicely onto the sort of next question, is that how do you balance, I suppose, the viability of production with demand and particular, I suppose, commodity and specialty, or commercial and specialty?
Yeah, it's really hard. Like we were at some point a very important country for the coffee production, right? Were producing 10 million bags of coffee. We came from a punishment that we had in the market with negative differentials because of the bad reputation that Honduras had, and we changed that. But then all of a sudden, like we were facing a critical situation with the lack of labor and the migration, unfortunately. Just to give you a perspective, like Honduras is a 9 million people in population, and normally 1 million works directly in coffee during harvest. So it's a really high percentage. And since the pandemic, due to the migration, it's been really high, the amount of people that have left, and it's about the same percentage. It sounds crazy, but it is real. Like since the pandemic, we have had about the 15% of the population live in the country. So that directly has affected coffee. And how do we compensate? Like that volume lost. Like it's really hard. Specialty has come to play a very important role, and we as a producers, many found the opportunity to connect to roasters and sell directly, and give people the opportunity to grow and reach out. So it's been really, really hard to maintain the offer. It's been really hard to be consistent with the quality. It's been really hard to be consistent with the volumes as well. And it's also adding to all of the economics and the demographics. You have to add that it's an agricultural product, right? It is exposed to all the climate change and everything. That's a whole nother topic that we can talk about. It's definitely like affecting everything. So it's been really challenging. We're using technology to reach out to different markets. We're using new varieties to diversify. I mean, SL28 is one of those, and I would like Evin to give us more insight about why, right? And diversification, technology, everything, creating strategies to produce better, and also find opportunities in market to continue working in the coffee, because it's been challenging in general. And I think agriculture in general in Honduras has been struggling. So we'll see. We're positive about the future. Like we're relying on our partners, and I think we're gonna be able to continue doing this right.
It's nice to hear that the positive the future is positive, at least, because there's only one way, I suppose, and it's up, right? It's there's only one way, and it's forward. But how does farmers like Evin, what happens at farm level when you obviously when you see that sort of labor drain? How do they compensate on farm level?
Bueno, sí, lo que es el tema de la mano de obra se nos ha hecho bastante difícil
So Evin
porque
is saying that
a veces
the
hay
labor
que
has been the biggest
buscar
issue right
gente tal
now,
vez de otro
and this
lado
is because many
y,
of the
y que la
workforce
gente tal vez de acá se
members
nos ha ido,
have
han buscado
taken the decision to leave to
país
look for like better
para
opportunities,
mejorar
like
su
and better
condición de vida,
ways
¿va?
of living. And
Entonces eso
one
como
of the
productores
destinations
se
where these
nos
people
hace
go
un
is
poco
other countries,
difícil,
especially
pero
the U.S.
bueno, gracias a Dios, pues a veces siempre
Even though
se
they are
consigue
able
gente
to
ahí,
reach
pero
to
se nos
workers
hace bastante
still
difícil,
and
pero
find
en
a
cuestión
way to harvest,
del
because
problema
like
de
there's
del
no other option,
café,
right?
es un reto
He says that
producir
there are
café
other
cada
challenges
año.
as well, like
Cada
the
año
conditions that we
pues
have
hay
had in
más
these past
dificultades. Por
couple of
ejemplo,
months, November and this
ahorita
current
este
December,
año,
where
estos 2 meses
the weather has been really
de
intense. We have had
noviembre,
a lot of
diciembre,
rain that has
han
affected
sido
the health of
bastante
the
difíciles
plants,
para nosotros.
and it's making the
Entonces,
production
para
very difficult.
nosotros que sea sostenible, lo del café se nos está volviendo un poco
So
complicado porque la mano de obra,
he was saying that
el que quiere trabajar,
the biggest
quiere que le
also
paguen más
challenge
caro uno.
with the
Y a
labor
nosotros eso
is
se nos
that
dificulta porque pues
as there's
nosotros
more
tenemos un
demand for
precio
labor
base del
because of
café.
the lack of it,
Entonces, ya pagar más caro,
the
entonces
workers and the people
se nos
are
hace bastante difícil. Y más
trying to like
enfrentando
get the
las
prices
enfermedades de
rise
café, porque
for
cada
their
año
services, right?
se lo
And it makes total
vienen
sense.
cosas diferentes.
Addition to that, the cost of living in Honduras has been getting more expensive. But yeah, people are trying to requesting more for their services, and that's making the cost of production go high. And Evan is saying that the sustainability of the business is in risk because normally in the specialty coffee range, we work in a long-term pricing structure, and I'm very stable, which we can say, which is a positive part of stable market, but it doesn't really fluctuate. And as the cost of production goes up, they see that the prices don't really go up. So that's a challenge. So it's difficult to see, like how create and adapt to that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I can imagine it's incredibly challenging conditions to work in.
Yeah, just to give you a reference, and when we started working with a specialty back in 2009, 2011 as a program, the cost of production used to be 80 cents per 100 pounds of parchment, right? Now we're seeing the cost of production be between 290 and 350 for the same amount of coffee. Meanwhile, the pricing structure has been in a very similar range, and it's been really challenging for producers to see that, and especially with all of the challenges that we have now. As Evin said, like we need to figure out how to, like maintain the sustainability of the coffee as a business, and make the products more profitable.
Yeah, but I guess that brings us really nicely on to SL28, because that's obviously one of the things that you're doing in terms of looking at varieties and what is more durable and obviously resistant to both climate change and everything else. So how did SL28 make its way to you guys in Honduras? Because obviously it's an East African variety.
So SL28, I've had the blessing to visit destination, right? To visit market. I had the blessing to go to the US. I spent time there with customers that taught me a lot of things. And one of the things that I learned over there was SL28 and Kenyan coffees, right? I got the experience to taste those coffees. And for me, it was a game-changing experience because I've never had something that good. And yes, we have good coffees in Honduras, but the uniqueness of those Kenyan coffees back in those years really made me want to be at the same level as a producer. And I was like, man, we should, like be able to find a way to get some of those coffees here, grow them, and see how they can be in Santa Barbara. So we shared the ideas with our buyers, and one of our buyers one day showed up with a bag of seeds from Kenya, and he's like, "Hey, I brought you these. Plant them, see what we can get." So from this pound, we were able to get around 1,000 plants that we planted here in a farm called Nacimiento in Santa Barbara, and from there we all got seeds and started planting. And why is that idea coming to Santa Barbara? It's because like we wanted to have something unique and different. We wanted to have something more exclusive. We wanted to have a coffee that could allow us to access new markets, and we also wanted to diversify and compete in Cup of Excellence with this, and with the whole idea of like find success, but also have something really good and unique for our customers, right? That I knew everyone was going to get excited about them, and there were going to be a lot of things to talk about. So we did it, and thankfully, and it's been great. It's been a successful variety from the same seed stock I have SLD in my farm. That is the exact same as Evin, and the exact same as the rest of the producers in Santa Barbara. And it's been really interesting to taste, like how we get that profile between, like Kenya and Honduras together, that gets, like a really complex and interesting cup. So yeah, that was the idea, and just like get good prices, but also get the excitement of something new that could be really nice.
Nosotros más antes siempre trabajamos con paca.
So
El paca ha sido
historically, his family
el origen de nuestro café.
and himself have been only working with pacas. He started planting a pacas plantation, and that has been the staple variety for El Cedral, for the Moreno family, and from Santa Barbara in general. But with the introduction of these new varieties, they planted them with the idea of like getting better prices, and they can see the difference. They can see the difference in the price, and they can see also the economic result
y luego, pues, el
for them.
amigo Benjamín, pues, él nos ha felicitado la semilla de sembrar otra variedad como el geisha, que este año, pues, me
The
siento
SL28
agradecido con Dios
was
y el
given to
apoyo
him
de
by
él
me
también, y los compradores,
alongside some
que
geisha
el café geisha
from my farm.
para nosotros es una alegría porque es mucha diferencia en los precios. Entonces, eso nos lleva a nosotros a tener planes
And he's saying that he's really
diferentes,
excited
como
because
por ejemplo
he
ahorita
see the
este
differences
año,
in the results in
gracias a
quality,
Dios estamos haciendo un
and that's
beneficio
allowing them
y
to
la logía hacer un
grow and
beneficio
work in better
para
infrastructure.
trabajar mejor los cafés.
As an example, right now, with the margins that Evin has earned from his varieties, he's building a new wet mill and a new processing station that we can't wait to show you and share what we're doing with it, what the plan is. So he is investing in that, and just with the idea of improve the quality of the coffees.
That's amazing. So the profit essentially margin from these new varieties is so good that it enables you to essentially increase or better production, I suppose, and processing.
100%. And if you see it as a product, it's just like part of a market strategy to the quality. When you create something different, bring more profits, and you can grow. That's the exact same scenario with this new varieties. That doesn't mean that the other varieties don't work. Like Pacas is still, like my favorite by far in terms of taste and profiles here. But these new varieties are allowing us to, like to think differently and access markets that we didn't have before. And it's really, really interesting. But let me ask Kevin a little bit more about his success in Cup of Excellence, which is worth mentioning here.
Pues bueno, venimos trabajando con mi esposa. Mi esposa ha sido eh, es gran ayuda para mí, para serle honesto.
He's saying that with these two varieties
Ella
that he started
me ha impulsado a trabajar
planting,
con
Geisha
café
and
y es una
SL28,
compañera
he was
que
able
me apoya en
to
todo.
achieve
Entonces,
2 spots in the Cup of
este
Excellence
año yo
competition.
siempre teníamos
This is the
tenido
work that is being done
con
together
ella trabajamos
uh,
los cafés
between Evin and
y
his wife
pues metimos
Alma,
dos
who's
lotes
also
en taza,
a
¿verdad?
coffee
Tanto
producer.
como el Geisha, el L28 y pues logramos obtener unos premios, por ejemplo, segundo lugar.
Evin with his Geisha got
El
place
otro Geisha
16
de primer cosecha,
in
el
Cup of
lugar
Excellence,
16.
and
Y pues bien agradecidos, ¿verdad?
Evin,
Con el trabajo,
Alma with
con
the
las variedades
SL28
estas
that grows in her
que
plot,
se puede apostar
she placed second
a participar en
in
eventos
Cup of
como la
Excellence.
Taza Excelencia.
So what Cup of Excellence is basically the most important quality competition in the world. I would say that rewards quality through on auctions. So all of the coffees that compete in this competition have the opportunity to go in an auction where they get bids from basically, like the most competitive and bigger specialty coffee market in the world that pay good prices for the good quality and the recognition of the coffee. So Evin was able to get 16th place in that competition, and Alma second. So she's like in the top 3 in the country, and that like that speaks for the quality, right, and the hard work that the couple do, which is pretty exciting.
That really is a testament to the quality, and as you say, the work they're doing at the farms, and it's such a great achievement. Are there any challenges in growing both Geisha and SL28 for Evin?
Sí, bueno, el café Geisha.
So he's saying that yes, there's
trabajarlo,
some
a levantar la
challenges
plantación,
with the
es un
Geisha, for
café
example,
que quiere que
and the
estar
SL.
bien pendiente
They're
de
two
él,
different varieties. He's saying
porque es
he's
un café
emphasizing on the
la
Geisha
raíz es
about
bien
the
poca,
root
la raíz,
system that is
entonces hay
not
que
as complex
trabajar
as
en
the
ese
other
tema para
varieties.
poderlo
So in the
levantar,
year
pero media vez
of
se
growing,
empieza,
it's really challenging for the
de
variety to
un año
grow.
adelante,
Once it crosses
si no logra
the
uno
first year,
a plantar,
you
se
can see
va,
that there's like
porque
a
ellos,
really
el
good growth
café
and
ese tiene
development.
un resultado
It's
después de un
resistant to
año que
the diseases as
cuando
well
uno
that
menos
we
acuerda ya
normally
está
find in
bien
the other varieties.
plantado y empieza a
And
producir.
talking
Y es
about
un
the
café,
SL28,
para
it's
serle
a
honesto,
variety that is weak
muy
against
bueno
coffee
porque
leaf rust,
bastante
which is a fungus
resistente también a
that
las
affects
enfermedades.
most of the
Sí, lo
Arabica
único
varieties.
que afecta a veces es
And it's a
en
big
la
problem
sembrada
that
cuando uno
we have
empieza a
in
trabajarlo.
Honduras
Entonces
with
mucha
for
gente
all
se
of the
decepciona
varieties, and
con
it's
eso.
really hard to
El
get rid of. Normally,
L28 es
what
un
we're
café muy
doing is
bueno,
just
se
learning how
levanta
to
rápido,
deal with it
pero
and adapt and live with
es
it.
un café que sí también le
So
da roya.
SL28
Entonces es un
doesn't
café que
escape
hay que
from
estarlo
the effect
trabajando y
of
también un
rust.
poco débil
It affects the
para el tiempo
variety,
como
and
está ahorita que es
also
frío,
Evin is saying that
porque estos meses ha estado bien frío,
SL28 seems to
entonces el
be
grano hay veces que se
weak
quema.
against bad
Entonces
weather
hay que estar
situations.
con ese
Some
reto
other varieties
de
are very
estar
resistant
pendiente de que el
to
café,
heavy rain and
estarlo
low temperatures. In
fumigando,
the case
tal vez con
of 28,
cobre,
he's saying
y
that the
ayudar en
trees
esa
are
parte
struggling,
porque el
and there has to
café
be a lot
tiene esa
of
desventaja,
prevention against
que le
frost
molesta la roya
damage and
y es bien
fungus
débil para
that
el
can
hielo
come
también,
from
para el
these
frío.
effects of the weather. And so it's is very exposed to this. So you have to be preventive and corrective against the diseases.
What does prevention look like?
So normally what we do is to use nutrients for the foliage. So we spray micronutrients and microelements that help the plant to make it stronger. Also, there are certain products that would kill the fungus that grows when there's frost damage. So spraying and adding nutrients to the soil and any amendment that you can do to the soil, it helps. Normally, like the weather patterns are unpredictable, so you never know, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be, like preventing every year and do it, which is not all of the producers do these practices. Like most of the producers do corrective actions, but in this case,
Right.
Evan was talking about prevention and thinking ahead and planning ahead when these seasons come.
And what about yield? Is there any challenges with yield on the SL28, or is that the same as Pacas, for example?
In my experience, suffers a little bit more of the biannual phenomenon of Arabica coffees. That 1 year will produce more and the other one will produce less.
Right.
At the end, in my opinion, it all depends on how the assistance is given to the trees, like how much pruning you do and how much maintenance you and care you put into the coffee. So that's kind of like my experience.
Ah, el L28 es, a pesar de que es de un porte de bastante alto, pero también él produce
So he's
bastante
saying that
café,
his
porque,
plantation has
bueno,
been really good.
para
The
serles
yields are
honesto,
very high,
yo la parcela que tengo,
even
solo
though the
donde yo
plant is a tall
produzco
tree
ahorita
with
la
a lot
mayor
of
cantidad
spacing in the
de café
branches.
de
He says that
L28,
the production is really
solo
high.
son
He only
como,
has
como 1500
1,500
plantas
trees
y me está dando
in his plot,
30,
but these
32, 35
1,500 trees are
quintales este
capable to
año.
produce
Y este año también,
around
pues, tiene
35
buenos
bags of
resultados.
parchment, which uh, I would say is around 15 to 16 69 kilo bags of coffee, of green coffee, which is a
Right.
high yield in my experience, and even higher than some of the other traditional varieties like Bourbon, and even the Pacas.
Yeah. Brilliant. So it seems like a win-win situation overall. Good yield and excellent cup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's really attractive for producers, right? So
Mm.
we're gonna see more and more and more SL20.
Are there any other varieties you're looking to bring to your production and to Evan's production that similar, like that sort of a little bit different to Honduras?
Yeah, we're trying to find the varieties that are good in cup quality and also resistant to diseases. Also, as we are close to market and we hear what like other countries are having success with, we want to follow those steps as well. So some of the more popular varieties right now are Pacamaras, that El Salvador has a lot of them with really good results. Pink Bourbon, for example, like a lot from Colombia, being like a good variety that also is resistant to rust and has good quality in the cup, and other varieties that are more exotic, like heirloom varieties from Ethiopia, Chiroso also from Colombia or Ethiopia. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's covered in Colombia, but it's all Ethiopian at the end. And it's like new varieties that can be trendy, and also some Brazilian varieties that are supposed to be resistant and also cup quality, good in cup quality, like Arara and Paraíso, and some of these new varieties that we hear, specifically for areas where the or other normal varieties won't give good quality of coffee. We're trying to see that, but yeah, there's a lot of that, a lot of those coming, and yeah, we're seeing a lot of Batian as well in the area, which is another Kenyan variety. So yeah, very exciting time for specialty coffee here, and yeah, about this new projects that all of the producers have.
Yeah, it's really exciting that you have the opportunity to diversify, I suppose, and create a production that is sustainable, sort of for the long term as well. If we look a little bit sort of towards the future of coffee production, obviously we talked a little bit about climate change and other than obviously bringing in new varieties that might help that, is there anything else that you're doing that sort of mitigating these impacts or like
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot going on regarding the climate change, as you can hear. Like a lot of countries are establishing requirements for the protection of the environment that has a lot to do with the change. I mean, you see the EUDR, which in my opinion is a great practice in countries like Honduras, where like there's a lot of problems with deforestation and stuff like that. A lot of illegal activities that happen in the mountains, and we want to protect them because we know the quality of our coffees really depend on how the growing conditions are, the health of the complexity of the environment in terms of the type of forest, shade, all of that. So has a lot to do, the agriculture with the agriculture, right? How the microclimate and the environment is. Now we're trying to go back to the all the way of growing coffee, which is more organic, not necessarily certified, because like I don't find certification of organic. At the very end, I think it's a piece of paper, and you can do whatever you get the paper in the farms. I'm trying to do practices that are better for the environment, and think about it. Like we've been adapting or land or mountains or terroir or conditions to plants that are originally from a different continent. So we're trying to create environments where have a lot of less impact to the conditions. We're trying to be more regenerative. We're trying to plant, for example, uh, trees that are good for the environment, that are native varieties from here that can recreate the same environment of the nature. We're doing our practices, producing our own organic fertilizer in order to have something that has less chemical traces for the health of the soil, especially, and as a consequence, we're expecting that we're going to find similar yields in production and better quality coffee from the cup.
Do you find a demand for more sort of environmentally friendly coffees?
I think there's always demand. We all want to consume products that are produced well. We're trying to also make the business sustainable, and these practices make the production more economic. It's more efficient in terms of the investment. So the only problem is that it's in long term, right? It doesn't. If you change your practice, everything you're not gonna see the results tomorrow, right? This is gonna take time, and it might be risky, but it's part of the possibilities that we want to do, and yeah, I think we've been getting the support from the market. They are be willing to invest with us in all of these changes. Because I think there's a lot of people that care and would support all of these projects. And still, if the other ones that are not super interested in this, which always happens, right? We'll be producing the same way that we are, but there has to be something done for the purpose of producing better coffees in better conditions and protect our resources that we have here that are, as very limited.
Yeah. And what about Evin the same in terms of production as you, or?
Sí. Bueno, nosotros
So he's saying that
con las fincas,
one of the things that he's doing is try to grow
trabajando con sombra.
all of his coffees under shade. So he's planting shade alongside the plantation, and also producing his own organic fertilizer with the pulp that he produces from the coffee, and also adding other products like chicken manure and cow manure and products that are rich in nutrients for the coffee. So he's trying to implement some of these practices.
And just sort of the last bit of question for me, and we've talked a little bit about the future, and obviously Evan's saying he wants to continue to produce incredibly good coffees. What are the hopes, and what does the future look like for both you and for Evan and for Honduras Coffee in general?
Bueno, cuando empecé a trabajar con café, pues yo no tenía pues ningún futuro y nada de eso, sino que pues las cosas se me han venido dando conforme he ido trabajando. Yo era un productor de hortalizas antes, y entonces
So when he started, he didn't have a vision.
Nos ha dado a nosotros.
He was just living by the day and doing by the day. He was a vegetable producer before coffee, and he says that coffee has given everything he has now. And thanks to the coffee, his kids go to school and they are getting better education. Thanks to coffee, his employees and workers are getting better wages and living also in a better condition. He says that he has achieved the things that he wanted through the coffee so far. So his idea for the future is to continue doing the same way that he's doing, working the coffee better, improving and continuing the path that he already took. So that's kind of like where he sees
cada año. Y lo futuro, pues Dios nos va proveyendo cada año lo que vamos haciendo, ¿verdad?
I would say the same. Like I think we want to produce better. Also, having mentioned that he wants to continue producing also with the practices that he's implementing with shade and everything and organics.
Yeah.
So in my case, it's the same. Like we want to, like succeed and thrive with this. Like I would be a hypocrite if I tell you that I haven't been, like blessed with the coffee as a patrimony, and we want to continue like that. I want my kids, I want my daughter to continue the same way. I'm not gonna force her, but her, like continuing this patrimony way that my dad and my grandfather did it with me. We want to continue reaching to your markets. We want to continue, like pleasing and reciprocating all of that interest and care that you put into our coffees. We want Honduras as a country to also be better, to continue the coffee to be that icon of a coffee producing country that we were at some point. So I think that's our goal, to continue this relationship with you, continue working with you, giving you the best coffee we can, so you can continue supporting our businesses and working together. And I think that's our biggest achievement so far, to be able to continue this relationship and do good and be happy at the end, because that's what we all want, like to be happy.
It's all about
And
happiness. Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate your time. That's all the questions I have.